Cricbuzz Chatter, Day 4, Adelaide Oval. Adam Collins, Mike Hussey. A day that, again, it twisted and turned throughout, and perhaps the most important intervention was the one that took the players off the field, where Mitchell Starc found the outside edge of Joe Root on 24. Their target, in theory, is 468, but in practice, the miracle for England to save this game across 134 overs required Joe Root to bat for, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, and he's not going to do that. He's gone for 24. That opens the door big time for Australia.
Oh yeah, that's a massive wicket for Australia. You know, there's always hope for England. While Joe Root, Ben Stokes are there, you think, you never know. You know, we've seen what Ben Stokes has done in the past. You know, you just never sure. But that's a hammer blow. You know, in the last over, to get him out, to get Joe Root out is, that's a massive blow for England. It's going to be tough for them to get through the last day. There's no chance of any inclement weather, so Australia will be feeling pretty good tonight.
And Mitchell Starc getting in the book after such hard work earlier from Jai Richardson, who didn't take a wicket in the first innings, but boy, he looked fantastic with that new ball today. And then later as well for his second spell, getting a second wicket. Michael Neser blowing off David Malan's front pad within moments of Nathan Lyon having him dropped. Lyon, who's turning the ball square. He's loved bowling on this Adelaide pitch yet again. I mean, where do England go? It's a suffocating experience.
Well, it's difficult. We've seen throughout the whole match that, there's enough there for the bowlers. There's been seam movement, there's been swing when the ball's new, there's been turn and bounce. Even Joe Root has been turning and bouncing the ball when he's been bowling. So it's been a great cricket pitch. Batters have had to work really hard for their runs, and that's why it's going to be so difficult for England tomorrow. Let's go back to the start of the play today. England, they bowled beautifully. They had that ball moving nicely. They picked up early wickets. You started thinking, hang on a sec, are they getting their way back into this test match by bowling Australia out cheaply? But Australia just settled a bit. They held firm, built a little bit of a partnership, and then managed to get to a position where they were happy to declare. But, there's enough there for the bowlers, throughout this whole test match, whether you're bowling during the daytime, in the twilight period, or at night.
Well, Australia lost rather, 3 for 11. England pitching the ball up in ways they haven't really done consistently through the test match. It could have easily been Stephen Smith out first ball on a borderline leg before shout and a drop catch from Butler. That might have been the other way around. Butler, what a strange test he's having. He's taken some blinders, he's dropped some sodas, and so it goes. He made a duck the first time around. They're going to need him tomorrow. Ben Stokes still there. And then Travis Head played the most easy breezy 51 you'll ever see. I saw people tweeting it. This could be Travis Head's Ashes, and I'm kind of getting that feeling as well. This guy is at the peak of his powers at the perfect time of an Ashes series.
Well, I think out of all of the players from both teams, he seems to be hitting the ball the cleanest out of everyone. He came to the wicket. Everyone has been struggling on this Adelaide Oval pitch. Everyone's had to work extremely hard for their runs. Marnus Labuschagne, Steve Smith in the first innings, they had to battle and they nicked and nudged and played and missed and let a lot of balls go. Not Travis Head. He comes to the crease, bang, 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 right from the word go. He looks in rare touch. I've never seen him play so well. He looks confident, but this is when he plays his best cricket. He can come out and he can be aggressive, play shots. But he's timing the ball beautifully at the moment. It was, as you said, it was an easy 50.
So 134 overs they gave themselves to bowl out England. Jai Richardson in his first over. I mean, what a superb start that was. He pretty much blew the glove of Hussey Adam Collins off by hitting the seam and moving the ball away. We knew a couple of years ago when Richardson made his test debut that Australia had won, but in a way it might end up being, they wouldn't have thought about it this way, but Cummins and Hazelwood missing means they get a good look at Richardson and Neser in these conditions. They've both performed. It just reinforces what depth Australia have got.
Yeah, I don't think the Australian selectors would have been thinking, let's just give them let's see what they're like. But you're right. It does test the depth of the Australian fast bowling stocks, and they've come up trumps. They look good. Jai Richardson, he's such a great competitor, and he would have been disappointed himself in the first innings at not picking up a wicket. And you just got that feeling he's just going to keep coming. He's going to keep coming and keep pushing. And he got off to a great start. That would have been a great boost for his confidence in picking up that wicket of Hamid. But just the way he worked, I guess he just works the batsman over. Coming round the wicket for his second wicket, he just attacked the off stump. But it was just a beautiful piece of bowling where he just bowled a little off cutter to catch the outside edge of Rory Burns, who was fighting really hard, and you got to admire him. But it was just a good delivery. He bowls good balls, gets good players out.
Yeah, it was like the perfect over, a setup of balls that were pitching and moving away. Burns had little response to that. But you're right, he scrapped hard. It's worth remembering that Burns did make a century and a couple of 50s against Australia at 2019's Ashes. So it's not as though this guy isn't familiar with the attack. He's just going through a rough trot. Maybe he'll turn the corner, maybe he won't. Time will tell. Michael Neser already mentioned he picked up a wicket, David Malan, but I want to drill down a little bit on Nathan Lyon. What a contrast. We've said it before, but a guy of Lions quality across a decade now, in excess of 400 test wickets. The drift he gets, I mean, I saw some criticism yesterday saying he hasn't got any variations. I mean, well, not quite sure that holds up when you see the way he's bowled the last few days.
Well, he doesn't need a lot of variations. He's just got to just keep spinning the ball hard and getting it in that right area, and the pitch is doing enough for him. There's enough turn, there's enough bounce, there's enough natural variation for him to be in the game. You know, I think when he's at his best is when he's bowling wide of the off stump to the right-handers and spinning the ball back towards off stump. Yep. That's where he can really create a lot of damage and a lot of problems for the English batsmen. So he's looked dangerous throughout the whole Test match, just because he gets a lot of overspin on the ball as well, and so that gets a lot of drop, so he's hard to get to the pitch of the ball. He gets a lot of revs on the ball, so he can get that turn and bounce, and when you've got a pitch like this where it's got thick grass, he doesn't need a lot of rough to bowl into. That grass, it grips in there, and it's really difficult to play. So I think he's just really relaxed since breaking through that 400 wicket barrier and just got his confidence up, and now he's bowling, beautifully, and he'll be a huge threat again tomorrow. All
right, Huss, let's go back into the hot spot. All right, in the hot spot, the art of saving a game. England, of course, a degree of difficulty ratchets up without Root, but they do have Ben Stokes there, and they've got some reasonably experienced players coming down in the lower order who can occupy the crease for a long stretch of time. You played in a Test match here in 2012 where South Africa batted for about 146 overs to save a game.
Don't bring that one up, come on.
that was a miracle of a performance, of course. AB de Villiers and Faf du Plessis batted splendidly that day, but give us a sense of what the conversation would be like in the England dressing room tonight about what they would need to do tomorrow in order to climb that mountain.
Well, it's a huge task, but I think looking over the course of the whole day is too long. It's too big of a mountain to climb. When you're climbing a mountain, it starts with one step. Yep. You've got to break this task down into very small little steps, win little battles along the way. So it might be as small as winning that first 10 minutes, winning that first half an hour, get to the first drinks break, get to the first break, and then reassess again, have a good deep breath, think about it again, start it up again, and then just try and frustrate the Australians, be out there a bit longer. They'll start going searching a little bit, and you just never know. Work with your mate at the other end, build partnerships, just show that fight and belief. It's going to be more difficult than that South African game that you're talking about, because this pitch has certainly got plenty in it. Yep. There's enough seam movement there for the Australians to create 6 chances. There's enough spin there for Nathan Lyon. think back to that game in 2012 that you're talking about. It was a very flat batting pitch. We still backed ourselves to win that game. We thought we could create enough chances to win that match. But this pitch, it's doing a lot more than certainly back in 2012. So it's going to be more difficult for England. But what they've got to try and do is break it down into small little goals and tick them off as you go.
All right, in doing so, let's press fast forward. Fast forward, last night we got in the prediction game and we tried to guess when the declaration would come. In the end, I actually had it closer than you did.
I think you were
middle of the day, exactly halfway through the day, Australia pulled the pin. But let's have a go at tomorrow. Is it going to be like 4 years ago in this corresponding Test match where England were 4 down at the close, all out an hour later? Or do you think we're going to see some cricket under lights and maybe some drama to finish?
I'm not sure it's going to go all the way to under lights, but I do think England will fight. That they won't just give it away. They're a proud country, a proud team, proud players. There's some players playing for their career. So that might come into it as well. So I think they'll fight hard, but I think Australia will get the job done maybe just after the first break.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I just can't see a scenario with Lyon and even Green, and of course Stark, who's in the book and in the game now as well. It's insurmountable as far as I see it. But time will tell. The beauty of Test cricket, a couple of good sessions and everything can change. Track it all on the live blog tomorrow, on the scorecard and then at Stumps. We'll be back to wrap it all up. Mike Hussey, Adam Collins, Cricbuzz Chatter. Night from Adelaide.